well, thank you so much for
No problem.
Yeah. Wow, I almost forgot. All right, thanks. All right. Um, so let's move on to another one, just so we can keep it fresh, because there's a lot more to learn with predictive. So I'm just building you up real quick. So does somebody want to volunteer to do the next one? We're gonna do North Saturn North Node here. Anybody? Any takers? Everybody's. Let's see. All right, I'll do it. I'll do it. How about that? I'll write it in. Uh, let's see. Here we go. It's wind. Is the wind affecting my microphone right now? You can hear me pretty good? Okay. It's coming this way. All right, so basically this part again, you're just cutting and pasting here, right? So you're doing Saturn transiting, right? It's a quincunx to North Node natal. That was a bad North Node. I try to do the ring, okay? So we can see that there, right? I mean, right? So here is the natal positions, which you're going to get from the inside chart, which Saturn is right here. First house in Gemini, right? You see that? And then the node, North Node, was originally in 7th house, and it was between Ophiuchus and Sag on the cusp. So right here, we're going to write down the natal keynotes of Saturn in the first house, which was basically first house is, awareness of the body, the awareness of the structure and the limits of the human body. That was my first situation, was when, that's the first house, is the first seed of awareness. So my first seed of awareness was like, holy shit, I'm in a body. I'm living under limited earthly structure and rules and limited time. So this is all like structure and limits, right? So structure, limits, and then lessons too. Because if you don't adhere to the limits and the structure, you're gonna have hard lessons. So, and the North Node is in the 7th house, and it was between Ophiuchus and Sag. So North Node is my path. So building, and 7th house is about relationships. So my relationships are how I connect to my path. So when partnerships, relationships, agreements, that is how I move forward in life, is by making, and since it's in the Ophiuchus, they're deeply spiritually rooted. So these are like spiritual partners, right? Now this is the current house right here. Currently Saturn is in the 8th house in Sag. And it's helpful to write that it's retrograde as well, RX. And here, nothing goes here because this is not moving. So this you can put moving, right? You could put moving or transit. You can write transiting. So now we're going to put Saturn in the 8th house. We already spoke about that, right? So this is the lessons in occult. And this is also, a lot of times Saturn in the 8th house, if you read that book, that Keywords for Astrology, Saturn in the 8th house really has a problem there, because in the 8th house is it's cycles. It's a circle. and Saturn is a square. So Saturn wants to put the circle in the square. And that's not how it works. So Saturn, they say, is a fear of the cycles or a fear of death. Because if you have a strong connection with eighth house, that's accepting death and rebirth as cycles. The Saturn looks at death as fearful. So there's like stuff going on there that could be felt as lessons in the cult and then possible endings, right? Possible, and that's that there is no endings. It's just endings are beginnings and beginnings are endings. There's no line. So this is what Saturn is going through right now, and has a quincunx with North Node. Quincunx is outward expansion, outward, right? So, and then we already spoke about, you're going to copy and paste the 7th house North Node. Just going to put that right here, right? So now you're going to read it where you're going to say, okay, so this is the relationship. You're going to say, the Saturn is going through your 8th house. It can have concern about structure. It might want to try to structure. It might want to try to be, it has fear of limits. It has fear of the unknown, because the occult is the unknown. Occult literally translates to the hidden. That's what occult means. The hidden, the unknown, the hidden secret. So Saturn fears that secret. Right? So Saturn wants to know everything. He needs to know everything. So that's the relationship with Saturn. But then it's hitting the North Node. It's an expansion. So you see the expansion is that North Node. So this is expansion and relationships. And relations or agreements. Handwriting is pretty bad with this stylus too. So there's an expansion there as Saturn goes through the lessons. But see, now what you do, you see how there's a story here, because this alone is pretty like worrisome, right? It's like, oh my God, Saturn is in fear of ending. What's going to end? What is going to, what are the lessons? But right above, we already have that transit. So we already went over what Saturn is doing with Venus. So now it's expanding in this area now. It's expanding. It's giving an expansion to the 7th house North Node area, right? Do you see how that works? The lessons that it's learning with teachings, the teachings and the wisdom teachings with the feminine, for the feminine, with the feminine, of the feminine, is also gonna like translate to this situation here. So you see, see how the story keeps going, how you make a story out of it, right? So but left on its own, that's worrisome, right? You see that? So now the next thing, next thing is we did Saturn. We did that already, right? So Saturn, just for sake of writing, it's going to be Saturn's cap. So that's 8 and 9, right? Yeah, that's right? Yeah. And then North Node, we did Cancer. That was the 2nd house. But then, as we were discussing before, that can also be where the moon is. So that could be in the 10th house, which could make sense because this is assets, money, and this is career. So it's like the same thing. And my career, if you look in where my original moon was, Chiron moon, that means I'm a emotional healer. And my career is doing healing work, because Chiron is the wounded healer. So you can kind of look at that and so where is this going to happen? Then you can write about it's going to happen in this area of your life, 8th and 9th house. It's going to happen in this area of your life, 2nd house, 10th house. So possibly money, career, cycles, and higher wisdom. So you're going to be going through some like transformation of maybe the old paradigm, which is patriarch. You're going to get a high dose of matriarch, feminine, the matriarch, right? So that's a possibility. And this is where it's going to be happening. You're going to be feeling it here. So you see? So then we want to keep the story going, right? So you want to keep on adding to that story. So let's erase this here. Oh wow, that sun is beautiful. Wow. All right. Oh wow. Okay. And also, this is what we call. Sometimes we refer to this as confluence, when a lot of things are happening right around each other. So you have this transit, and you got this one ending. You have this one ending August. Oh wait, 1 second. I didn't do. I like to do range scan. Yeah, let's just keep it like that. All right. So you see here, you have this going on, goes exact. Right? This is how you look at it. And then you have this one's ending on August 1st. Also, that one's ending on August 1st. But then you can see Jupiter is getting transited twice here. Venus is also getting transited by the North Node. The North Nodes are opposing each other. So all of that is going on kind of as we speak, all around the same time. See, this goes exact with Venus on the 29th, North Node, right? So you see there's a story here. And what you want to try to do is you want to stick right in this part of, wanted to stay here. I'm going to look here. How far does Jupiter go? August 25th. Okay. So this part is a story. This is pretty much first theme of the month. So next we're going to do, right, to add to the story, which is interesting because we just read about Saturn a lot. There was two Saturns, right? Now Saturn, if you read your book, you're going to see Saturn is the planet of limitations. And Uranus is the opposite of that. Uranus is the house, the planet of no boundaries, limited, no limits, no boundaries, no structure. It's the freedom, the free spirit. So if we look here, we have Uranus squaring on Jupiter. So we want to analyze that because Uranus is limitless boundaries and awakening, and Jupiter is expansion. But there's a square, so there could be some hard lessons here about maybe possibly overextending. So we're going to look at that. I'm going to open up this thing here. Okay. Oh, sorry. All right. How's this? All right. So let's draw that out here. So does anybody want to volunteer? Does anyone feel comfortable? Maybe Laurel or Danica?
I can take a shot at it.
Okay. So let me just get my drawing up. We're doing this one here. We're doing Uranus square Jupiter.
Oh, okay. All
Okay.
right. So in the first square where it says planet in transit, you would just put Uranus.
Yep. Let me just get the thing up again. I keep hitting the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah. So we want to. So what are we doing on the first line?
It would be Uranus. So that's the planet in transit.
Okay. So Uranus in transit.
And it's squaring Jupiter. So you'd put square Jupiter next in that next box.
Natal, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So
And
basically,
then,
just copy and pasted whatever you saw here. You put it right there, right?
and then the natal house
Mm-hmm.
and sign. Let's see. The natal house for Uranus is the is it the fifth house?
Yeah, it's the fifth house.
And the fifth house is in Virgo.
Yeah, fifth house Virgo.
And Virgo is usually the ruler of the sixth house, but I think that comes later.
Yeah, that will. Yeah, we're gonna deal with Uranus. Well, it's gonna be Uranus, the rule of Uranus, Aquarius, but we'll get to that. Now Jupiter.
So Jupiter in the natal chart
Mhm.
is in the 8th house, and it's in Capricorn.
How you like my Capricorn? That looks good.
It's actually pretty good.
With the stylus, yeah. I like.
Yeah.
All right, now what goes on the next line?
The current house. So we go to the transit wheel.
The outer wheel.
That's the outer one.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing Uranus, and that is in the, it looks like it's the 11th house, and it's in Taurus.
But I can't hear you. Say it again.
I'm sorry, it's because I moved. It's in the 11th house, and it's in Taurus.
Aries.
I'm sorry, Aries. Aries, I'm sorry.
They look the same a little bit, yeah. Okay, so 11. Okay, nothing goes here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now what goes on the bottom here?
So the ruler of the planet in transit
Mm-hmm.
in the current house would be in the transit wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So in the transit wheel, the planet, it looks like it's, wouldn't still be the 11th. That doesn't make sense. We have to go
No,
back.
no, no. Remember we spoke. I gotta redo this. She did this wrong. It's where's the Uranus rules what sign?
Oh, it rules, oh, I can't think.
Aquarius.
Okay, because
Yeah.
well, Aquarius can also be ruled, I think, by Jupiter. Isn't that true?
Yeah. Well, that's the tradition,
Yeah,
traditional
but
ruler. But we'll
well,
work
they
with the
discovered
modern.
Uranus, I think, what, like 1759 or something, and decided that it was
Yeah.
watery, and so it's the ruler of Pisces.
No,
I'm
Aquarius.
sorry,
Yeah.
Aquarius.
And then where is Aquarius?
Let's see, Aquarius in the, oh, right, Aquarius in the transit chart is, it's in the, it's hard for me to see that. I have to memorize the colors. It's in the 9th house.
Yeah. You could put 9. It's a little in the 10th, but we'll just stick with 9. And then Jupiter is what will be this one here?
Let's see. Jupiter is in the 8th house.
Yeah. Well, it's in both 7th
Hmm.
and 8th. See that?
Um,
You see that line?
looks like the line.
So it's occupying 2 houses.
Are you sure it's not that line next to it?
No, Jupiter rules Sag, and then this is where Sag is occupying these 2 houses.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You
Okay.
see?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. It's in Sagittarius.
Mm-hmm.
I thought so.
What the fuck?
What was that?
Oh, our phones don't listen to us.
No,
It's
no,
like I
no.
thought so. Like somebody's sneaking in a lesson on the over here. I don't know who that is. On Siri. Siri's
Yeah,
learning astrology from me.
exactly. God, that's so scary.
Yeah, yeah. So we
Oh,
see
what's
that,
in the
right?
glasses?
hmm
Okay,
So
right.
then, so we understand everything, right? So over here we're writing pretty much that what we came up with the natal chart of what these 2 planets are.
Right. You've got Uranus in the 5th house, what does that mean?
What does it mean to you? Tell me.
Well, I mean, the 5th house is the house of what you love, and Uranus has a connection with Mars, but it also has a connection with the Sun.
Mm-hmm.
And
So give me a quick keyword for Uranus in the 5th house in Virgo.
gosh, that's a tough one. Um,
Well, remember
well, I mean,
the simple.
Uranus also is the planet of, like, every 84 years, there's this switch, and every 42 it goes from masculine to feminine, so that there might be like a sexual component to it, being in the 5th house of what you
What's that?
love. So it
Yeah,
wouldn't be
it's.
the worst placement for it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that it's intensifying the energies of what you love.
Right. It's freedom, free spirit.
Oh, well, actually, then, if it's freedom, it could
Because
be.
Uranus is the planet, and then remember, you gotta look where it is too, right? This is where you gotta follow the story. So you see, remember how you said 84 years?
Wait, say that again?
You remember how you said 84 years? It goes through the zodiac every 84 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look where it is. It's in the beginning of the zodiac.
Okay.
So Uranus is going through a cycle itself,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see everything else that we just read was dealing with eight. Everything was happening in the eighth house, and also Jupiter again in the eighth house. So there's something renewing, and there's a freedom involved. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Because Uranus is the awakener to the limitless. So you see how the story can build. You see that?
Yeah, but if let's see, the eighth house is the house of transformation,
Mm-hmm.
and if Uranus is about freedom,
Mm-hmm.
but it's currently in the fifth house of what you love, it could mean being freed from what you love.
Well, it's I would the relation the origin it's the birth is there. That's the original relationship. But now, see what you want to write is the birth chart here, and then the birth of Jupiter. See, so this is why it's right, so you don't get confused. So you're gonna write the birth. You're just gonna write the birth chart reading here for Uranus and the birth chart for Jupiter instead of trying to analyzing it right away. So what's the Jupiter line? What goes here? Jupiter eighth house. Jupiter eighth house in Capricorn.
Jupiter, eighth house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, Capricorn is kind of more of the sign of limitation.
Mm-hmm.
So for Jupiter to be in the eighth house, it would either try to push against that, or it might actually make it more so. So it's hard to figure out which one it would be.
Yeah, exactly. So you're dealing with limits and expansion.
Right, you're either dealing with increasing the limits or
Mm-hmm.
expanding the limits and breaking them. You're
Mm-hmm.
not sure which it is.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what my Jupiter does with me. I can expand really huge and then have issues of overextension.
Mm-hmm.
Because Saturn is like, that's too much. And Jupiter is like, I can keep going. And Saturn is like, that's too much. Now there's a Uranus now. See, this is what is good to write because Uranus is freedom and spirit and free to express. Remember the simple key word of the fifth house was I express?
Mm-hmm.
I express freedom. I express liberation. This is fifth house Uranus. It's a free spirit. Now, Uranus is in the 11th house. So what are you going to write for Uranus in the 11th house in Aries?
Well, the 11th house is the house of community and friends,
Yeah, groups.
and
Groups.
or
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah, so
And
Uranus and Aries, what is that? So like
well,
right
in
what you said.
Aries, it might make it hard for someone to be in a group without butting heads with the people in that group.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Uranus being such the house of freedom and lack of constraints and breaking any kind of bonds,
Mm-hmm.
it could mean like breaking off of a friendship.
Mm-hmm. That's possible. Or it could be liberating communities, expanding
Right, or it
communities.
could mean finding better friends.
Mm-hmm. Right. So anyway, this is groups, right? Groups. Um, this is maybe boundaries. So then what you're doing is you're going to take this Jupiter here is working with the limits of expanding, overextension possibly, and then you're going to put that down here. So now what you're going to read is, right, now how you read it is Uranus, you originally had it in your fifth house, so you're really expressive and free-spirited. Jupiter was in your eighth house, so you had a big sense of expanding and searching for spiritual meanings or the occult. Sometimes you can go over because you can feel limited because it was in Capricorn ruled by Saturn. So sometimes you could feel like you can't get somewhere, so you have to, you're like squashed. So now Uranus moves into Aries in the 11th house. This is starting new cycles, awakening communities, awakening groups, working with groups to awaken. And this is what's happening with astrology, right? Because like I'm just doing it in a whole different way and teaching. So that's what's going on. But now there's a square here. So there's a possible overextension, right? There's a possible like issue, because the square makes a hard lesson. So how do you now the advice is, well, you're going to have this work that you're doing in community with there's going to be some issues with overextension, overexpanding. So where are you going to draw limits? Where are you going to find limits? What are the limits? What is your time? And then where is that going to affect you? Well, it's going to affect you in the ninth house, your higher realm of teachings and wisdom, and the seventh and eighth, your relationships, and also understanding the occult energy. So that's how you would read it. You would say like, be careful for over expanding or feeling too free, and maybe for me looking at this, maybe it's like, you know, like what I'm doing, like I'm pushing the boundaries. Like I'm on, I used to teach the class from home because I had stable internet. Now I'm like, I need to be free on my boat. Like I'm a captain. Like I live in this water element. So here I am testing the limits, right? And then today I almost went to another place and was gonna do this at Anchor with my mobile Wi-Fi, and then it was like too risky. So I stopped myself from overdoing it. You see how that works?
Right. Well, one of the things about a square is
Mm-hmm.
it's inharmonious planetary combinations that require a significant effort in order to reconcile and integrate inharmonious energies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
you
it's
want to round off the edges.
yeah, and it's bad enough when you have something like Saturn and Mars, which actually kind of get along with each other. But you've got Uranus and Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, I guess maybe I don't know that they're so inharmonious. They're both planets in a sense of expansion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, you get it. So you can see it. Can we all understand how we wrote it out and we can analyze it and then kind of draw up conclusions based on this? And then you're following the story. So as you go on, you'll have either you're going to have all these sheets, you know, one by one, you can staple them together and go over each one. Or you can just draw those grids like I drew real quick, boom, 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 those little tic-tac-toe things right on the page. So it just depends on what your comfort level is and what your flow is with reading the charts and stuff like that. But I'm just trying to get everyone to see the compiling the little elements to create a book, because you're creating a book. So we just already saw what pretty much what my last week was like, and you can see this is what it is, and you know what I mean. And that was one of the lessons I got today. It was like another friend was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to this beautiful cove," and I'm like, I got to stay in the marina because I don't know what the Wi-Fi is gonna be there. So I couldn't be free spirited, but I am kind of free spirited because I'm not in my office. So I'm expanding, but also being careful because the Capricorn energy and Jupiter keeps me careful with the expansion. Because it would have been terrible. We have two new people on, and they're introducing themselves, and then the internet's bad, and how terrible will that be,
You
right?
know,
So,
Uranus and Jupiter are both associated with electricity.
yeah, well, Uranus and Mercury are, yeah,
Did I say Mercury? I meant to say Uranus and Jupiter. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, but yeah, but no, I said Mercury, but Uranus,
Oh,
well,
oh,
Jupiter, yeah, because it's the lightning bolt,
right,
hmm
right,
technology. Uranus is technology too.
right.
Yeah.
So
hmm
I was thinking that they were inharmonious, but they've got a lot in common. It
hmm
would almost be like, in this sense, the square would be strengthening them.
Right. Let me just see what's going on in the chat. Okay, cool. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next one because it's 8 o'clock already, and I just want to do one more and just like just confirm that we understand the flow. So I just want to make sure that we get the flow. That's the important thing. The analyzing, like Laurel, can take time, and and but I just want to make sure everybody has the flow, and then we can do a lot of that stuff in a little bit. Why is that not erasing? All right. Do I have another volunteer? Or
Can I go?
who's that? Danica? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Let me do more erasing. Hang on. Let's do. Oh yeah, look at that, Chiron. Let's do this one here. The Chiron Jupiter. So there's more to Jupiter. So we're gonna get more knowledge on Jupiter. So let's do it. So you wanna tell me what to write where? Like
Yes.
first line?
Okay. So first line, we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna write
Mm-hmm.
Chiron transit,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the second space, we're gonna write sextile
Mm-hmm.
Jupiter natal.
All right. Okay. Yep.
And then natal placement of
Mm-hmm.
Chiron.
Mm-hmm. So the middle, the inner wheel.
We're in the 10th house
Mm-hmm.
in Pisces, or I guess like on the cusp of 10th and 11th.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Yeah. So you can do. Yeah, you can do that. Yep. Yeah. I did it backwards, but you get it. Okay. And then here.
And then natal placement of Jupiter is
Mhm.
in the 8th house in Capricorn.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then here.
And then current house, Chiron transiting, we are in
Oh, I hear you go. Okay. Mm-hmm.
the 10th house in
Is it? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, 10th house in Pisces.
Oh wow. So it's in the same house. Yeah. Yep. Okay. And then you
And
going down
then
Chiron again? So
so ruler of Chiron, I'm not
yeah, that's
sure.
another one. That's a because there is no ruler of Chiron. I use a fucus
Okay.
because they're healers, right? So
Mhm.
fucus is where?
So Fucus is in the 7th house.
Right. Okay. So then let's go down. What's next?
And then Jupiter rules Sag, and Sag is in the 7th and 8th house.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. So now what do we write here? Now we're gonna write down a few things. You can tell me what you write, or just say you're gonna write interpretation of Chiron, interpretation or whatever.
Okay, so natal Chiron in the 10th house in Pisces
Mm-hmm.
means that there is healing ability or capability in your profession regarding like a very spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
connected to the divine,
Mm-hmm.
like that receptivity, intuition.
Yeah, that's a good one. Intuition. Uh-huh. I'm gonna move this camera over. let's see, I put it in the bottom. Intuition. Right. Oh, that was a bad writing. Okay, and then what goes on here? What's next?
Then the next one is
Oops, I went.
we're looking at Jupiter
Mm-hmm.
in the 8th house in Cap. So in the area of transformation and healing, you're expanding in a very structured way. So that kind of makes sense that you're a teacher about the occult and astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Like Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is a teacher.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's also like your profession.
Right.
So
Yeah, because it rules the 10th house, right?
mhm.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's a good point. Oh, wow, it's a really good point. Yeah, wow, that's a really okay. Yeah, all right, good. So what? Okay, so what goes on? What goes here?
So the current house transit with Chiron in the 10th
Mm-hmm.
in Pisces, the relationship is a sextile.
Mm-hmm.
So with the healing capabilities
Mm-hmm.
as your profession in spirituality, we have a creative opportunity or an opportunity to create something new regarding your
Mm.
healing work and expanding work as a teacher, or the structured
Opportunity.
way that you um, heal and transform like yourself and
Right.
others.
Right. Oh, yeah. Great. Oh, wow, you make me feel good. Okay. I'm like, okay, things are looking good.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So then, I have to move my camera. You can still see the whale because my camera's over the whale, but I don't.
Yeah, I
You
think
can't.
we can.
Okay.
I'll still see it.
All right. So then, what goes here now?
So this is going to manifest in
Mm.
your relationships and um in your healing work, in your
Mm.
occult studies and your wisdom teachings.
Oh, the cult studies. Yeah. All right. That was good. So you got the flow, right? You see it, right?
Yes.
You see it. So, I mean, okay, that's better now. So you see how just by using, did anybody write all of them down? Because I just kept erasing, but I just want to see if anybody wrote all of them because then you can read a story real quick,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, I can remember a little bit. I can remember just the lessons and the teachings of the divine with or of the divine feminine that's going on here, right? And then this one was relationships, something about relationships. And then this one was about my freedom, my free expression, and then having limits, and then possibly not going too far and making a mistake, which is why I made the decision today to stay at the dock, but I'm still on my boat chilling. Right? So so like I'm not in my hot office with the air conditioning trying to keep up with 95-degree weather. Right? So like I didn't push it too much, but I'm free. So that's possibly like dealing with the square and wanting to be free, but making sure I don't go over. And then the healing work, opportunity to expand in the healing work. So you see the story kind of works. You see, and then I shared a little bit about my personal life. Like my girlfriend is really expanding. I gave her my office, right? Because I like to work in my home office, and I support her and feeling grounded and whatever, and not pressure because like to come with me on the boat. She's like, I'll come on the weekend. Okay, so there's freedom. Then I'm expanding my work, you know. So it's all story. So this is how you would talk to a client. And then and like so if you just read that for me and I wasn't the teacher right now, you're telling me, hey, this is what I see, and I'd be like, yeah, like look at what happened to me this week. Look, I'm talking to you from my boat, not my hot office. Like and my partner, she's working on all her stuff and creating events and things like that, and totally supporting that. And I'm also teaching her. She's also was an astrology student too, and she's adding that to her work. She's doing like movement and stuff, so we're doing that together. So it's like all that's going on. So if you were talking to me and telling me that that's what's going on, and I could be like, yeah, like that's what's happening. I mean, So now imagine now when you're doing this stuff, you're doing these readings 3 months in advance. This is where it really works. So right now we're doing it for now because we're just doing like this confirmation of really what's going on. But now imagine you're doing this from August to October. Somebody comes to you and they're like, okay, this whole pandemic thing is going to be extended, whatever. What's going to happen to my life? What's going to happen to my career? How am I going to, what's my life going to feel like? And let's say this was happening 3 months from now. This reading you just gave me was for September and I was worried or whatever. You would have said, well, you're going to be working with the divine feminine energy. You're going to kind of work with that and support that and teach with it. You're gonna have an expansion in your career and being a teacher and a healer. And and then I'd be like, oh wow, that feels better. I don't have to really worry. Like, oh, okay. There's no but you can keep on reading and like, is there gonna be loss of money? So if you have like Saturn coming through your second house or something, or Mars, it's a possible issue with money. So you can talk like that and and you can see that. And then another thing before, because we still have time, but another thing, so we did that, right? We did what we just did, basically going through, let me see here. I gotta move this wheel. Basically went through all of these aspects, which is really what you should do. But a lot of times it's also good to do this. Let me just erase this because this is confusing me.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What does PR stand for?
Oh yeah, that's part of the next step. It's progressions.
Oh.
So progressions is gonna be what we're gonna open up in a few minutes. I'm gonna go over the whole thing, but yeah, it's a deeper transit, a longer one too. So let me just get rid of all this. So, all right. So one of the things too, you can look what I call a face value analysis, right? You can look at this and you can be like, whoa, man, you got all this going on in your 8th house. And we know globally what's going on with Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, right? Is pretty much what we're dealing with this pandemic, and pretty much a change of the system, a breaking down and a rebuilding. And so like, whoa, that's going on in your 8th house. Oh, that's intense. Like that's some serious recycling going on. You got Mars and Chiron in your 10th house. Okay, so you're pursuing, there's like a pursuit or like some type of assertive energy in your career in doing the healing work. You got Uranus in your 11th house in Aries. There's something going on with groups. You're kind of bringing light to groups of people, right? You got Venus in your 1st house, cusp of ascendant. You got Mercury here in your 1st house, so you're having logical sense of self, like what you are, what you do. But so the moon is into the 4th house in Virgo, so you can talk about that. So this is like a face value. Neptune is in Pisces in the 10th house, so this is deep, like spiritual surrendering to spirit. So that could be something good because going through all these changes, which we're all going through, surrendering spirit within the path of your career is a great situation because you're in the flow of spirit, right?
Yeah, Isaac.
Yeah.
Sometimes your voice is breaking up, and just on that whole explanation, it was happening.
Oh, okay. Oh, so all of this here was breaking up?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of heard it, but
Yeah.
just when you went through all the planets, it was kind of unclear
Oh, okay.
to hear.
So
Yeah.
basically, what I just did was just give it like a run through of what planets are in what houses transiting right now. And you can just give a quick breakdown of what you see. Like I told you, I just gave a quick breakdown. But you can just give a quick breakdown of what you see, like Uranus in Aries in the 11th house. So like, wow, okay, there's an awakening with people. So you can hear me, right? Yeah. Oh, really? It's in and out. Is anybody else? Is it like that for everyone? Or just
You're breaking up. Right when you went to explain it again, it broke up.
Oh, really? Maybe you're not supposed to know.
Well, you know what it might be? It's like I've noticed when you're on your computer and you're talking, you kind of have to keep your head in one place. And I'm terrible about this, but it kind of helped me not to be moving my face and moving my head around.
Oh, because it's moving. taking up.
Your microphone can't pick you up.
Oh yeah. So now you can hear me, right?
Yes, now
Like
we
you're
can hear
kind
you.
of. Yeah.
Right.
So basically, what I said was I just pretty much did a breakdown of what these planets are doing currently in these houses, as you're reading like a birth chart. So you're saying all this stuff is going on in your eighth house, which is what we're dealing with this pandemic. Uh, Neptune is in Pisces in your 10th house, which is surrendering to, guided by the spiritual realm of in your career. So just like that, Mars and Chiron and Pisces, you know. So you just break. That's a quick way to do it, right? But you really the 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 core of it is. Let me erase this. The core of your predictive reading is working and analyzing all of these placements. That's where it's at, right? So now Danica asked, PR. So now this is what I wanted to make sure you had the rhythm of figuring out transits, because PR works the same way. All right, now let me move this up here. Hang on. Okay, see this middle wheel? This is what's called the progressed wheel. Now the progressions are the slower move. This is your internal movements, your internal evolution based on your birth chart. And this is what's called a day to year formula. So basically this progress chart represents 46 days after my birth, which is 46 years after my birth. Does that make sense? It's day to year formula. So if you were to draw a chart up 46 days after my birth, it will look like this middle chart. So the sun, 46 days after my birth, the sun would be in Sagittarius Capricorn cusp, right? Because it's a day to year formula. So 46 days, then this is what it's supposed to, I call this the caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It's what your body is morphing into, your internal. See, if transits affect you outside, like the world outside affecting you, like, and you're going like, okay, this is what's going on outside and I'm being affected. Progressions are, this is what I'm changing into, right? So I was born, let's keep it on the sun because that's an easy way. I was born with my sun in Scorpio Ophiuchus conjunct galactic center. Now, and that's my original relationship. Now, internally, my sun, I feel this energy with my sun energy. So I was born 6th house service, work, trusting in spirit. Now I'm in the realm of the cycles and the mystic and occult structure and teacher. So that's my internal. That's just, like, you can't outrun the internal, right? Like I can't outrun the internal anymore. Like that's it. Like this is what I've grown into, and this is what's called progressions. So this is the slower movement. This is what your body moves into. This is your slow movement through the zodiac in your body. So now, technically, I feel like a Sagittarius Capricorn cusp, my sun sign, right? So that's what progressions are. So usually in progressions, what you do, you can do it as I just explained to you before, doing it face value. So you can start off like saying, your progressed sun is here. So you work with the inner planets because the inner planets are the one that move the fastest. So those are the ones that are going to be changing all the time with your progress. Because remember, it's day to year formula. So if you look at the progressed Chiron, hasn't moved that much. See that? If you look at the progressed Uranus should be opposite, right? Progressed Uranus is opposite because I'm halfway through my 84-year cycle, or a little bit more or less, right? It's 84 it'd have been 42, right? So I'm a little bit past my 84 year. I'm halfway through. You see, my this is the oh no, this is the transit. No, this is a slower one. Yeah, the transit is opposite. I mean, I got confused. But my progressed Uranus, since it's a day-to-year formula, it doesn't move because this is only 42 days, right? Or 46 days. In 46 days, Uranus doesn't move that much. 46 years, Uranus moves opposite. So the bigger planets, the outer planets, don't move in your progressions. You see, Pluto progress is still here. Neptune progress is still here. Jupiter is a little faster. You see how it moves a little? It's moved a little bit, right? And then Neptune progress, yeah. So now, so we understand that, right? So it's the inner ones that move. The inner ones that what you want to look at. So what you want to do is you want to look at, for example, the main focus is your Venus is over in your 8th house, but it's in Capricorn now. Your progressed Venus is now in Capricorn. Mercury is also in the 8th house, conjunct Venus. See, these are the fast ones, and the Sun. So internally, you're having a relationship. And if you look further and deeper and you study, Mercury in the 8th house is the one who uncovers the secrets of the occult mysteries, because Mercury is the messenger. And in the 8th house, Mercury is searching the occult teachings. So internally, yeah, that's what I'm going through. And also with the Venus energy in Capricorn, the teacher. So yeah, that's what makes sense. Internally, I am, and what we read in the transit is what's going on too. But look at my progressions, that's even stronger. That's delivering the messages or finding the secrets. So that's how you would read progressions, right? You look at the inner one, the inner planets, the faster moving ones first. Now, there's another thing to consider for the outer planets. So you don't really read the outer planets right now because they're in the same place they were when you were born. But when they're shifting, well, in this case, it's not even that much of a shift, but this is just an example I was going to show you. Let's say, for example, my Chiron was here, you know, kind of well into the 10th house. If you look at it, it's on the cusp. Well, over here, you look at it's on the cusp. So whenever an outer planet is on the cusp of a sign or a house, you want to read that, because that means it's about to shift into another energy field. So that's when you would read an outer planet, when it's on a cusp like that. And I just did this as an example because this planet is on the cusp. I wanted to give you a visual, but Chiron I was born with Chiron on the cusp, but it's still there. So it's not, I wouldn't really read it, but I'm just giving you an example. So we see that, right? So that's how you do a quick progressed reading. My progressed moon is in the 7th house, Sagittarius. Attracted to partnership relationships in a higher realm. Sagittarius is the wisdom, right? So you would read that. So you would read the inner planets. So it's Sun, Moon, Venus,
I just
Mercury,
noticed something pretty
Venus,
important
Mars.
in your chart. Can you hear me? Did I mute
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. Look where your moon is. You've got moon and moon lined up with transit and progression.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And that's your house. That's your home.
That's my what?
That's your home.
Yeah, well,
And it's with the north node.
right.
That's pretty important.
Yeah. Yeah, Moon conjunct North Node.
And with the fact that you've got it both in your transit and your progression right
Yeah,
now.
Moon. right here.
Yeah, moon with north node.
Yeah, exactly. And then,
That's a big deal.
yeah, and then if
In
you
a
want to
good
go
way, in a
further,
good way.
yeah,
I just wanted to point that out to you.
yeah, and you could find out where the original moon was as well. But also look what's here too.
I
Is
know.
another thing that you can point out, if you want, is well, this was over here. I was going to show you here. North node opposing north node, transiting, which means that it's conjunct the south node. And you have moon. It looks like a loose conjunction, but moon south node conjunction. You see that? Then you have moon north node conjunction. So yeah, so that's something that to pay attention to. Like you want to, this is merging now the two. You're merging like transits and you're merging progressions, and you're saying look at that. But yeah.
And it's happening in your home.
Hmm. Well, seventh house, yeah, relationships or contract.
Right.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's something. Now let me just show you. So then, so we just did a quick kind of face value and analysis of your progress chart. Now over here, this is how you do it. You just read it just like a transit. See, the only difference is it says PR and not TR. So you would do it the same way, right? You just do it the same way, right? So usually I do transits first because I want to get an understanding of what this person is being bombarded with, and then I move into progressions later to get an understanding of what they could be feeling like while they're going through the bombardment. That helps a lot. Some people just do straight up progressions, right? Some people will just go all through the progressions, and then just be like, this is what you're growing into, and this is what you're feeling. I do it the other way because people are more immediate. I feel like, especially when they come to you and they need to know what's going on, they're like, what's going on? What's going on? You look at the transits and you see what they're being bombarded with. But yeah, so that's what you would do for predictive reading, using this graph. So I want to show you how to do progressions with just a progress chart as well. So do you guys have any questions on this part? Anything here? No? Okay. So let me just, another thing that you can do for progressions is this. So let's say we have my chart up, right? There's a few things that you can do. I like to do it this way. So let's say you have my chart up. You go to dynamic multi-wheel and I'm selected here. We're not going to relocate. We're going to keep the date is today. Okay. And you're going to do bi-wheel. So the inner wheel is going to be the radix chart, which is the birth chart. And, oopsie. Hang on a sec. Okay. I just saw Vasumi is on. Hey. I didn't see. So then the next one you select here is you select progress chart. And I just want to make sure it's configured correctly. Yes, secondary day for year formula. You see that? Using solar days in solar arc. Okay, and you do okay. So now we got that, right? So then you do okay, and you're gonna get a bi-wheel that looks like that. Then you're gonna open it up the same way we open up all the other charts. You're gonna go to view chart. And it's gonna be this one, aspects and wheel. And sometimes, I don't know, Athens should have straightened this out, but you should have this wheel. If not, I'm gonna have to give it to you. But I'm just gonna do it, show you. So you open it up like that. And you have what we were looking at before, but you just have your progressions. So this is if you wanna just do a regular progress chart, just like this, right? So then you can see the outer wheel is the progress and the inner wheel is my birth chart. So then you can read like that, progressions alone, just like this, right? And you can go, and then this line works like the aspectarian. So you can go, I'll draw here. So you can do, the progressed sun is sextiles your natal moon. Progressed sun sextiles Mercury. Progressed sun is conjunct Venus. So here you go. Progressed sun conjunct natal Venus. See that? Right? Progressed sun squares natal Mars. So progressed sun, you can find the line somewhere here, but there's going to be, I think it's going to be look like something like that. It's funny. This is all these lines are kind of crazy. Progressed sun is conjunct Jupiter. Is that right? Oh, but it's separating by 8 degrees. Okay. So it's still a conjunction, but it's a loose conjunction. You see? So you can read it like that as well. Just pure progressions like this. Okay? So you can just keep going through the line. Moon. Progressed moon is squares your natal moon. So progressed moon has a square to my natal moon here. You can keep going. Progressed moon trine natal Mars. Right? So that's how you do progressions like this with this chart. So this is like, if you don't want to deal with the graph and you just want to look at it this way, you can do it like this as well. This is another way, right? Now I want to show you one more. Is there anybody have any questions on this wheel, on what I did or what it is?
I have a quick general question about progressions.
Yeah.
Is it always 46 days or does that change like per chart?
No. It's 46 days because I'm 46 years old.
Oh, okay.
So day to year. So if you're 30 years old or whatever, it's 30 days after your birth.
Okay.
So it's calculating day to year.
Okay.
So it'll look, like I said, like this is, if you run a chart for 46 days after my birth, this is what you're going to see.
Okay, gotcha.
It's going to look just like that, right? Like if I run it, right, like that. And we could do the bit. I don't want to take too much time. Ray, you look like you're going to say something. Ray?
I was going to ask another question, but you
Yeah,
can
go ahead.
finish that thought. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
I
you.
was just going to ask if you ever prioritize, like with all of these relationships, if when you're reading someone's chart, you have like, a process for prioritizing.
Yeah, do I have a process for progressions or just regular natal chart?
I guess there could be either.
Yeah, that's a good question. I usually look for anything that has a lot of aspects, usually like a grand trine, or like, because I'll show you my birth chart real quick. Hang on. For example, move that over. So, well, let's say we have my birth chart up, right? And I'm gonna open this up. I am, oh yeah, okay. All right, I'm at 45, yeah. All right, so, well, my chart's kind of complicated, but you can see I have, like these trines, right? See that? So whenever you see stuff like that, you want to read like when you have like grand trines or mystic squares, which are just big squares, or squares. But definitely you want to read, like, let's say you're looking at my chart. I'll show you something that I wouldn't really read. I would prioritize a lot of your personal planets. So all of these I would prioritize. For example, I wouldn't read this quincunx right here with the star. I can bypass that, but you want to read conjunctions are really important. Trines, squares, oppositions. These are all important. Sextile is important as well. So it's hard to say, but but usually start off with the inner planets, because these are they call them the personal planets. and this will give you more of touch with the person, and then you can move on from there. But that's why if you look at the beginning videos, you see I have a way to just, I don't know if you saw, if you got that video that I wrote, but I go through every house and just write down an interpretation for every planet here, every placement. So that way you don't get overwhelmed if you're starting to work with you see, like that. So then that way you have, everybody has its place. You already know who are the players in this chart. Who are the players of the game? You already have them pinned. So when you start connecting them, using the glue, like Sun conjunct Mercury, you're just bringing them together like that, right? For example, let's see, uh, Saturn square Mars, right? So you have Saturn, you already have the interpretation. It was square moon, sorry. And you can see there's a red line from Saturn to the moon. And you already have written down the moon, right? So you just put, the structure of yourself and, the compassion you have in your work of a healer. Sometimes issues can come out of that. You might feel limited. That might create challenge for you. With your attachment to the work, right? So that type. So you won't get overwhelmed once you have everything written. So does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, we have. I mean, it's a little over time, but I wanted to show you just a couple more things because the next class I want to maybe move forward is doing also. You can do. You could the same way I showed you the bi-wheel, the dynamic multi-wheel. You can also do with transits, or with the daily transit, let's say. And usually I do this. You could do it with the transit of the day. You can just say like, how's today affecting me, right? So here we have the transit of today, right? Is that today, July 28th? It might have been earlier, right? And then you have my chart, right? So it's the same thing. You can either do synastry or you could do dynamic multi-wheel, right? So, no, actually, you're going to do synastry on this one. Dynamic multi-wheel, let me just double check. I think you can do, no, dynamic multi-wheel was, let me just see if you can do it on both. No, yeah, you could do transiting too. But how I usually do it, and this is also for relationships too, which is why I wanted to show you this. You go to synastry. So this is the relationship of two charts on top of each other. So you're going to go to synastry, and you're going to choose my chart and the transit chart. I think it's my chart inner, right? So my chart and then the transit, and you do okay. Let me just double check. Yeah, transits are outside. So you saw what I just did, right? You choose one chart to be the inner and the other to be the outer, which is the transit of today. Then you go to, again, view chart, and you go to synastry aspects and wheel, and then you go to okay, and it's the same wheel we just saw with that progression. Remember? But except this is today's transit, right? So the outer wheel is today, right? So today the sun is in Cancer. It's hitting me in my second house. Today Venus is hitting me in my first house. North node's hitting me in my first house. Right? And then you can do it, today's sun is trine your sun. Today's sun's trine your moon. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty, that must feel good, right? So today's sun is trining on my moon, and it's trining on my sun. Today's sun is opposing my natal Venus, right? Today's sun is opposing my natal Venus, right? And you can read it the same way, right? Sun in Cancer, second house, nurturing of finances, or nurturing of assets or tools or money, and then hitting Venus. So it's the same thing, right? Where you take the interpretation here and you bring it over here, and you're going to read it as opposition. And so the Venus 8th house is opposing my my moon and my sun in Cancer today. So you can read it. You could do a transit reading for the day. But one of my favorites that I wanted to show you is what I like to do is lunar charts. Because a lot of times people want to know what's going on for them during the full moon or the new moon, right? I'm sure we know about that, right? So for that, what you want to do is you want to go here. We can work with this later, but you could do planetary returns here for any planet. But I want to show you lunar phase real quick. So you can go lunar phase, and here's the chart. Today's July 28th, and you can choose the next. See this line here? Next full moon or previous full moon. So July 5th full moon, but the next full moon is going to be August 3rd, right? And we got the dates. That's the date of today, New York. Right now, it's current lunar is first quarter, but we're going to do it for the moon phase. We could do it for the next new moon phase. We could do it for the next first quarter phase. But usually people want to know what's going on for the full moon, right? So you open that up. So the next full moon is going to be in Capricorn, right? Now you do the same thing. You want to do a synastry chart. You do synastry, my chart, and the full moon chart. See those two selected? You do okay, right? And then let me just move this around. Hang on. Go to view chart. Same thing. Aspects in wheel. Okay. So now you could tell a person, all right, so full moon's in Capricorn. The sidereal, true sidereal full moon is in Capricorn. So if you look in the sky on that full moon night, it's going to be in the constellation of Capricorn. Tropical astrology is going to tell you it's going to be in Aquarius. But if you know your constellations, which I'll teach you later, you're going to be able to spot Capricorn. You're going to know it. So this moon is going to affect me in my 8th house. So it can be different for everyone, because someone who was born with Capricorn in the 2nd house, that moon is going to be in the constellation Capricorn. It's going to be hitting them in the 2nd house. So it's about money and finances and assets. For me, it's about occult energy. It's the same thing that we were all talking about. So the moon is going to affect me in the 8th house. So the Sirius structured moon, this reflection of sunlight, is going to be hitting me in my 8th house. So that's how you would read it. So you're going to have an 8th house experience. And then you can also go over, the moon is going to sextile your sun. The moon is conjunct Jupiter. The moon is sextile Neptune, trine Pluto, and so on. Sextile, right? So you can say, 8th house moon, Capricorn. You can say Capricorn moon, 8th house is Sirius, a connection to occult, right? A mystery. And it's going to be trying on, sextiling, let's say it's going to be sextiling Pluto, right? Sextiling my natal Pluto. I'm sorry, sextile my natal Neptune, which was conjunct my sun. So you can, whatever that was for me, you can write that. And now you're going to connect these with the sextile. So this 8th house full moon Capricorn, which is going to be more of like the emotional realm, or the intuitive realm of this occult energies that you're working with sextiles the intuitive realm of your Neptune energy in work and service. So this is going to be an experience of deep occult work for me. But for someone else, if it's in the if they were born with Capricorn in the second house, this is going to be situations about money or property. You see? So that's how you would do like a full moon reading for someone, right? So it's different for everyone. So that's why when you read these horoscopes, which I call horror scopes, like horror stories, because then none of them are real. This is why it doesn't make sense, because you can't have a general full moon reading for everyone, because that Capricorn moon is totally different for everyone. So this is how you do a personalized moon reading for someone. Can you still see me? It's kind of dark. Oh yeah, you can see me. Okay, great. All right. Have a nice sunset. You want to see? I don't know if you can see that nice. Oh, you can't really see it. It's kind of washed out, but the sun just set behind those mountains there. It's pretty. So anyway, so that's how you would do it, and you could do this for full moon, and then you can do this for partners. This is synastry, so you could do this for relationships, and we can get onto that more. But you know, let's say, for example, just so we don't take up much time because it's almost 9. Let's say, for example, this is I'm the inner wheel, and this is you know, my partner. So you can say this is Hillary, right? You can say that's Hillary's chart. So you can say Hillary's moon is in your 8th house. This is, Hillary's sun is in your 2nd house. But you would have to know Hillary's chart first. So because this is locking in with my chart. So for example, I'm gonna let's say for example, just to keep it all here, this full moon, the sun in Cancer, let's say this was Hillary's chart, sun in Cancer is a 10th house sun. So this is a person that's, for, if this is a person, is career. This is about public appearance. There's a shining or expresses themselves publicly, right? That's their relationship. Now, when you do the synastry, so we know that is who they are. Let me just do this. That is who they are. That is who they are. They're a public, shiny person. Where that public, shiny energy is coming into my 2nd house. So that public, shiny energy is actually received by me as an asset, or somebody that maybe in public she can do more of the talking than me. This is how you analyze partnerships. Like, oh, maybe you're the one who will be in front. Maybe you represent the partnership, and then that's an asset because that to me is valuable, right? Like someone who can speak for us, because it's in the 2nd house, and her Mercury is there too. So this makes her a pretty smart person. And Cancer is like nurturing, right? It's that nurturing protector. So that's a good connection right there, if that was a person. So that's how you do synastry charts, right? So let me just show you one more trick. So now we did how this person affects me, right? Now you want to see how you affect that other person. So if you go to edit chart, you switch them. So you do full moon, and then you do me, right? And then you do okay, and they're going to swap. You see how they just swapped? So now the full moon is the inner wheel, which was pretty much, let's say, that person's natal chart, which we confirmed earlier. It's 10th house, Cancer sun, Capricorn moon, right? So now, like if this was Hillary, let's say, right? How I affect her. So my son comes into her second house. So we both see how we express ourselves. It's an asset to each other. We can see the value in that, or we can recognize the value. That's how you would say. So you would say you can recognize the value because his uh, his son Neptune was in the sixth house of service and work, of spiritual work, spiritual service. So you see that as an asset. You see that as valuable. You can recognize the value in that. So there's a see how the 10th second house connection is there, and it's like, oh wow. So yeah, so these people can see each other's value, right? That's how you would do a relationship chart. And usually, we'll get more into synastry, but usually you want to see if there's a Venus connection or if there's a Moon Venus connection, and stuff like that. And then you can read it that way as well, right? You can say Moon and Venus. What his Moon, your Venus are connecting. What's your Moon? What's his Venus? And that's how you do relationships, right? Do synastry charts. So, did we any questions on that? No?
Well,
We good?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me today if I could do a synastry chart to help them decide what day to have their wedding. And I was like, no, oh my God, what if I
Oh
take a
God,
big...
really?
Yeah, and so I'm thinking, I thought what you'd have to do is you'd have to do a synastry chart between the two of them, and then for the day, wouldn't you?
Oh wow. So you want to pick a wedding date for two people?
I know. I mean, no, it's for a couple getting married on the same day.
Right.
And I
Oh
was like,
wow.
what, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's the liability in that if I tell them this is a good day and it's a disaster?
Oh wow.
I know that in Vedic astrology, that's a big deal. They do that. They know
It's a
how
big
to
deal to do that. Yeah.
But the problem is Vedic astrology is still slightly off too.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's like if we could do it for people using this, it would
Yeah.
probably be pretty good. But I just wasn't sure how to do it.
Well. Wow.
I know. I was like, I know what you want, and I kind of know how to do it. But even if I did it, I'm not sure I would tell you.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, that's a big deal in India. Astrologers in India that use Vedic astrology, that's one of the big things they're asked is what day should I get married? And I think they may hedge their bets and they might give them a couple of days. I don't know that they give them just one day.
For a couple, that's hard.
That's what I was thinking, because it would be hard.
I mean, for one person, it'd be easy. Like, hey, what day should I get married? Okay, you can look and be like, okay, well, you got Venus and Taurus. It's transiting your seventh house, maybe, or something is transiting your seventh house. I mean, you should just try it and see if something comes up. But yeah, I mean, if something is affecting the seventh house, but usually for one person, like the moon or Venus in seventh house is a good indicator of that. Or maybe
What if you
huh?
What if you did a chart for each person and then see if something aligns?
Well, that's what I thought I'd have to do, is I'd have to do a chart for each person.
Yeah.
And I would have to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I'd have to do it for both of them, but I would have to do it for, it's kind of like when you can do the graph, you can move your mouse and you can then click on it and get a chart.
Yeah.
But if you've got two people, that would be kind of hard.
Yeah.
Because you'd have
it's a little
two
tough.
charts and then you'd have to run them and see what days were good for both people.
Yeah, I don't know. You got yourself into a pickle.
No, I didn't. I didn't say I would do it. I just told her what she needed to do. I said, well, you need a synastry chart.
Yeah.
But I didn't really necessarily say I would do that. I thought it would be just like you said. You'd have to do two charts.
That would be cool, though, to kind of try to explore that. Like, if you had the time, to go through all of that.
I know, because like I said, in India, that's a big thing. I mean, they do that all the time. So they know how to do it for couples. And But again, they're using Vedic astrology, which is slightly off. So even if they're, doing everything right, it's like kind of like the fruit of the poison tree. At the root, it's not right. This is what's correct.
Right. Right. I need the sitters getting there.
So I guess I need to find out what a Vedic astrologer does and then apply it to this.
Yeah, try that. Yeah. Did I just freeze up? It looks like I'm moving slow.
No, we can see you fine.
Okay, yeah. All right, great. I think it was just my computer. I moved downstairs. It was getting too windy. So,
Okay.
so anybody have any questions on like what we went over tonight, or anything that like maybe you wanted to learn more that I maybe didn't cover?
I have an outside question.
Yeah.
What is the galactic center?
Okay, that's a good question. Let's do a little. It's the Milky Way. It's the center of the Milky Way. What else? Oh shoot, I don't have my I'm on my other computer. If you give me 1 second, I might have oh my god, what is that called? Oh boy. Stellarium. Okay, so S. So hang on a second. Let's open this up. Who did anybody do the astronomy software like Stellarium?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna open that up. I'm gonna see if we can see it here. I think you can. I use the other one, SkyX, for my telescope, so I can see the Milky Way. But let's see, it should show here. Because I don't use this much, but hopefully I can find it for you.
Is this the same thing that I think you can do it on Capricorn, where you look at the sky?
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not sure in Capricorn if it shows the Milky Way. I can look at that too. Let me just see. Okay, whoa, holy shit. Oh my God, hang on. Okay, yeah, you can see it here actually. Yeah, okay, so let me get rid of a few things here. All right, so you see this is the Milky Way. And I don't know if you live in dark skies or not, but you should be able to see the Milky Way if you have dark skies, like in the south. And this is where Scorpio is. You see Scorpio right here? And Ophiuchus is above. And Ophiuchus's foot goes here. I'm gonna, I don't know why I can't take, okay. Ophiuchus's foot is right here, you see? And this is Scorpio. So this is in the south, you'll see. And the galactic center is this part of the sky here. And that's the center of our Milky Way galaxy. And that's the core. That's where like the bulge is. Right? So it's like a core and everything goes around it. They say it's the black hole is here and that we're circling around. So this is the center. This is the bulge. And there's a lot of there's a lot of mystic energy here. There's a lot of cosmology stories that we're going to go over and when we do the cosmology part. But there's a lot of connection here. So, and they say, like, and NASA has proven it, that this area has the vibration of 30 billion solar suns. So the sun energy is, we know what that is. So this is like 30 billion suns. So this part of the sky is really strong. So when a planet transits through here, it's really strong. And the fact that the 13th zodiac sign that we work with is right here, that's why it's significant to work with the 13 zodiac signs, because it's hitting the galactic center. But tropical astrology doesn't talk about that, right? Because it's taboo, because they don't even know what it is. So
Okay, and this so Ophiuchus is always in the galactic center, always, or does this shift?
Yeah, I don't know, why am I getting this weird glow? Do I have a purple glow on my face?
Yeah.
It's so strange. Where is that coming from? Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Because the zodiac belt doesn't really shift. We shift through the zodiac belt, which is what precession is. But yeah, a fucus, from our perspective, is always right here. It's always in the galactic center, based on our position on Earth. This is how we see it. So, and he's, we're gonna get into fucus. I'm gonna do a whole presentation on him and show you the significance of the number 13. This is the 13th zodiac sign. And this is the ecliptic. Let me just see if this can show up here. Equatorial grid. I don't know how this. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know how to work with this so much. Prometheus. There's a way to put the ecliptic grid up, but I don't know. But the ecliptic, you can see the planets. That's what identifies the zodiac belt, is the path that the sun and the planets travel, and that's fucus is in that path, right? So fucus. So this is pretty much the zodiac belt, and a fucus is in it. And I'll show you on Prometheus. On Prometheus. I think it's better. Let me see. Prometheus shows you the zodiac belt too. So, okay. On Prometheus, we still have everybody on, yeah? So let's do it for the full moon. Why not? All right. So let me just erase some of this. Right. I don't really use this that much, but most of you can if you want. You go to Explorer 3D. Okay, and you go to Planetarium. And I think this is it here. Go okay. Gonna take a minute to open. Okay. So this is the planetarium, and this is how it works. You have to hit the pan button every time you want to move it. So, and you have one stroke, and then it doesn't work. I'll show you. So you move it like this, and then if you try to walk, it doesn't work, right? So you gotta use your strokes. And you can see here, this is a nice visual for clients too, because you can see the zodiac signs, and then you can see the constellations in the back. Then you can see the planets here, right? And you can see, I think this is the correct one. Yeah, you can see the accurate sizes of the constellations match the actual constellations. So Pisces is here. See, this is all Pisces up to here. And that's the size that we use. And Mars is in Pisces right here.
Are those long blue lines the houses?
Yeah, yep. So let's go over to the east. And here's the chart here. Actually, you know what you can do? This is the wrong wheel. I want to show you something. Edit. Oh no, not edit chart. Options. So let me cancel that. Options. What you want to, this wheel right here, what you want to do is you want to select, you want to go to wheel design, and you want to select the Zodiac 13 one that we always work with. I think it's this one, Zodiac 13 basic wheel. If you open that up, that wheel will show up. See? So we can see, yeah, the houses. The blue lines are the houses. So let me go over to the east. We can look at the ascendant. Okay, here's the east. And you see this dotted line here? This is the degrees. This is your horizon. So you see here AS. Let me draw a little bit. Wait a second. Where to go? You see AS. How come it's white? I wanted to get it white, but I don't know what's going on. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so you see it's in Virgo, AS, the horizon. And you see on the horizon, AS, Virgo, right? And Virgo is big, right? And I want to just double check something. You can't, it doesn't show the Milky Way here, but what I just showed you earlier was a Fucus in Scorpio. See, but you don't see that. But here's the galactic center where I was circling. This is the galactic center, right? Where his foot is, you see? So that's where it is. But you don't see the band, the Milky Way band that you normally see. But yeah, I mean, you can see all these planets are in Sag, right? Cusp of Capricorn. And you can see they're all here, right? This is all the moon is in Capricorn. And the moon is in Capricorn down here, right? So you can do a reading like that, yeah. Because if you look, how did I do this before? I can, let me see. I'm gonna try to find a center. I'll show you how you can tell it's 12 houses. You see the center? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, right? So it's 12 houses. So yeah, you can read like that. So 12, 11, 10. Sun 10. Sun 10, right? So yeah. So this is cool. You can show clients this. I mean, it's hard to do a reading like this. I've never really had any fun doing it this way. But if you feel inclined, it's impressive to show, you know? So, yeah. All right. So, any other questions? Anything? It's about 9 o'clock. It's going to wrap it up. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay.
I have another
Good?
question.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you do astro mapping at all?
This has it, but I don't do it.
Okay.
This has astro mapping.
Yeah, I saw it there and I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. I've never really experienced that, but you can. I didn't even know how to begin that part, but yeah, it's a good
sure
practice.
I know what astro mapping is. Can you tell me what that is?
Astrocartography? Oh, Vasumi knows how to do it. Astrocartography, yeah.
Yeah, I do it on my I do it on like astro.com on the web. Astro.com does it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it's the placement on the planets of your planets.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time of your birth. So it gives you, it's interesting to study because you can test and see, say, where your sun on the, so they do it on the IC and the MC. So if you've got the sun on the IC, which is the lower part of the chart, the root of the chart, then that might be a place where you feel really at home. Or if you've got, you know, like your sun on the midheaven, on the MC, then that might be a place where your career, you know, where you shine and you get seen and your career goes off. And then you've also got your sun on your descendant and your ascendant. So if you've got your sun on your ascendant in a place, then it's like a place where you get to know yourself really well. Or if it's on the descent, you meet a lot of shiny people, sort of thing. So it's interesting to just play with it. And then you have Venus, all the different planets and different places on the planet. And I found it really interesting for the places that have been important for me in my life. And if I feel like I want to travel to somewhere, I always check on the astro mapping to see how that is in that place for me. Or if I meet someone from that place, yeah, it's cool.
Okay.
It's interesting, but it's a whole other realm and probably a bit much for everybody yet, I would say.
Yeah.
So is astro mapping like the
It's like
astrology of place?
Yeah, like geography.
Oh, like where you should live? Could you live
Yeah.
in Louisiana?
Or not
or
where you
could
should
live
live.
out?
I wouldn't go by it in that way. I would test it
Mhm.
completely because different, like the one on astro.com is different than my solar fire astro
Well, I
gold.
was going to say there was a person in the 70s that had something that he did, and there were people that were using his method, but
Yeah, it's all based on his methods.
okay.
Yeah, but different programs come out with different results. So the results from
Right, that's what I was going to say, is that it seems like we can kind of do that with
and the
the
results
true
from my
sidereal chart.
yeah. So anyway, another one to explore down the track after all of this that we've got to
Yeah.
explore.
I know, like
Right.
this isn't hard enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is deep enough and far out. Awesome.
Yeah.
Even for me, and
All
I'm
right, so I'm
long
gonna
in.
wrap this up, guys. Any last minute questions or input or anything like that?
Should I worry because my moon is in Capricorn in my natal chart, and it's coming up on the 3rd?
Oh yeah. So do a synastry for yourself and see what's
Yeah,
going
that's
on.
what I thought. I better do a synastry.
Yeah. It's probably
Okay.
conjunct.
Yeah, we hope.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right, everyone. So I'll get this replay out tonight. You'll have it, and I'll see you. What? I don't even know what today is. Tuesday.
Today's the 28th, so it'll be the 30th.
All right, I'll see you Thursday.
Yeah, and
All
that's
right,
my
and,
day, unfortunately, where I try to be on 2 calls at the same time. I hope that doesn't
Thursday. Okay. So again, the homework again, just keep practicing with the transits and the progressions, and try to do someone's chart. Try to do like someone close to you. Do it just for a month. Run the dates for a month, and get yourself familiar with the rhythm of doing that using the sheets. So maybe print up like 20 of those sheets or whatever you can afford to print up. They don't have to be in color, and then just do it. Or if you know how to just do it with make your own tic-tac-toe marks, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
But what you want to do with the transit is what I want to try to encourage you is to make a book, and then you're going to staple it. That's the idea. And then you're going to say, here you go. This is your map for your next whatever months ahead. That's the idea of the transit. So they have a book that they can like go through it, and the dates are there, and they can, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Danica's tired. It's like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning
Oh,
in Poland.
Berlin, I
Super.
think.
Yep.
He's a trooper. Vasumi is like the next day. You're like a day ahead of us, right?
Yeah, Wednesday the 29th of July at 1:15 p.m.
Oh,
Time
okay.
travelers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
All
Good
right.
night.
All right, everyone.
Bye.
I'll see you on Thursday. All right. Thanks. All right. Bye.
Bye.